Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Hey, good morning, folks.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat.
Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are.
There it is, team. Morning. Morning, wherever you're tuning in from today.
Early bird gets the worm, they say. Here at Positive, we offer a 6-star team. It's a team that help you at every stage of your wealth creation journey.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Shome. I'm one of the mortgage and finance brokers here at Positive Money. Thank you for joining me on our last Wealth Coffee Chats for 2025. It's been quite a year and it's even been quite a week. So what I wanted to do first was just start to break down the lovely little Christmas present that the RBA gave us this week. And much like the pair of socks, it's something we didn't really want. We might have needed it, but we didn't necessarily want it. So the RBA this week decided to leave rates on hold, which was, it's not great because it wasn't a rate cut, but it wasn't bad. Good morning, Caroline. The downside was that I guess what they started to throw on the table, and probably the best way to put it, was a possible rate hike in 2026, or now if you sort of go down into the media path, multiple rate cuts for 2026. And I just wanted to sort of break that down because we've had now, some lenders, being Macquarie and CBA, pulling out of trust lending. We've had DTI, APRA coming out around DTI, and now, the RBA coming out and saying, well, things aren't looking great for interest rates over the next 12 months is probably the best way to put it. And I just wanted to sort of break that down. So let's start and strip it all back to the basics, okay? We see this at the end of every year, and it's a good way of keeping our spending under control from an inflation point of view. If we sort of get some bad news, we all tend to be a little bit more cautious. And I'm going to come down into some tips and tricks around Christmas as well in a minute. But, what we're seeing around the DTI and the trust lending is just banks preparing for their 2026. So what we just need to do is just be really cautious and conscious. And I think it just comes down, actually, let's rephrase it. Let's go back to conscious of what is realistic and what is there to sell papers, and make sure that you click those headline links. I'm not overly concerned in terms of the DTI increases. We've seen this before when we had the investor lending, the investor lending increase of 0.3 that we tend to see on loading loading, that is the word I was looking for. The investor lender loading that we see now on investor rates being roughly around the 0.3 higher than an owner occupied rate, but we all survived. We all still borrow. We're all okay. So, I think DTI is going to be similar. I think, as I said last week, it's just going to come around to that financial strategy and making sure that we find the right lender and the right product for you, for not just for now, but also in the future. In terms of the RBA, look, they've come out and said that inflation is likely to be high for the next 12 months. And that's probably realistic. Okay. It's not high. It's just on the higher end of where they want to be. And I think that is realistic. Whether or not that ends up transpires going into interest rate increases, though, look, I think if we all are conscious of it and we all sort of focus down on what is important, then that may not necessarily eventuate. In terms of cuts, look, we weren't expecting a cut now. Okay, it would have been great, as I said, but we weren't necessarily expecting one this week. The banks definitely didn't foresee it. A few weeks ago now, probably about a month ago, we all talked about on here the cost of lending. And why did the cost of lending go up? It's because they need to hold more money now in reserves. And that comes down to their risk management. But now that they've got to hold more cash, it means that it's going to cost them a little bit more to hold the same amount of funds, to lend the same amount of funds. So again, that's why we're seeing fixed rates increase now, because the cost of lending has increased. It's got nothing to do with what we're foreseeing moving into the future. So I guess what's important for us, let's strip it back to the basics and what's in it for me. Okay, or what's in it for you. Let's focus on, what I wanted to focus on today was around budgeting, and particularly coming into this season, I think, we all go crazy at Christmas. I know I do. I'm a Christmas fanatic. Okay, so this session is probably more for me than any of you. But I wanted to sort of come into some top tips for budgeting, but also some quick wins that you can make this Christmas. Okay, so what I want to do is just sort of quickly touch on a budget. So if we're looking at budgets, a really good one that you guys can find online is the ASIC Money Smart Budget Planner. Now, if you want to know anything about money, go to the Money Smart website. It is a great website that is not biased to any lender whatsoever. It's very factual information, and they've got a really good, simple, and I stress the word simple, and easy to use budget planner. So that's a good way of working out where your money is going. When it comes to a budget though, it's probably the best way I can explain it. It should be like a hug. So not too tight or it's uncomfortable, but not too loose, because then it's not going to do anything for you at all. So the best way to do that is grab 6 months worth of your bank statements. We all don't like doing it because we all don't want to know about our KFC addiction. Or McDonald's or whatever is the common takeaway transaction in our statements. But it's uncomfortable, but just move on from that, okay? Go through 6 months, work out what your average spending is, and break it down into 3 simple parts, okay? Now, let's jump up to the simple split. So 50% of your income needs to go to your needs. Your needs are your food, your fuel, your entertainment, your subscriptions, your household bills, okay? 30%, I would say allocate it to your wants, okay? You want to go out for dinner with your partner, or you want to go and take the kids somewhere on a weekend, put it under that, okay? That means that you can buy whatever you want to buy guilt-free, but we need to allocate the funds. Okay, when we allocate the funds, we know that everything else is being covered. And 20% of that should go to debt reduction. Now, obviously, our mortgages is probably going to fall more into the 50% mark, okay? But 20%, when I talk about savings and debt, Savings is obvious, but debt, things like your credit card reductions or whatever other personal debt you may have outside of the mortgage. Another really good way to do this is to set up auto transfers. I do not have the time to be sitting down each month and trying to figure out which thing I have to pay. So it is all on auto transfer. And I really think this is the best way that we can set up a nice, simple way so you guys can succeed in January. Because I know in January, we're all going to make the New Year's resolution that we're going to save cash. So let's come into some quick wins. I want to give you something that at least you can do over Christmas to try and make it a little bit more bearable on our wallets. Okay, so the number one thing is that we all have, now I'm talking more to the mums and the purchasers of the household. We all get signed up for those, you go in store and they say, sign up to our online rewards or whatever it is. And what they usually do is they take your birthday, okay? And then on your birthday, you get, 50,000 emails saying, here's a $20 voucher to come and spend in our store, or, here's a free gift or whatever that might be. So what I do, my birthday is actually in April, but I tell them it's in December. Keep the number because I would never remember the fake number that I would give them. But so what I tell people is that my birthday is on the 19th of December. By doing that, that means that when I come into Christmas time, now I've got all these like little discounts and, vouchers and free gifts and all that sort of thing. And look, it's not going to make a huge impact, but it's going to give you something, right? You're doing it anyway, so you may as well get the benefit for it. Another thing is most of the major supermarkets and things have their online rewards. Again, you're buying those groceries no matter what. Okay, so I used to have mine converting to Qantas points. Then I realized I never got to use the Qantas points because I never had enough to do anything with them, and then they expired. So what I do is you can actually set it up on the app to put all of the rewards towards a Christmas voucher. Okay, so what you can do is actually get them to set it up for Christmas, and you will walk away with $1,000 to spend, roughly. I mean, I know that's what mine was at. $1,000 to spend at Woolworths for Christmas. Now, that might not be enough to go and buy presents and all that sort of stuff, but you know what it does do? It takes care of Christmas lunch and dinner and all those sorts of things. So now that's a stress that you don't have. So these are quick little wins that you can make that make no impact to your daily life whatsoever, that will make your Christmas a little bit more bearable. And, with all those birthday vouchers, you probably got a free coffee or drink or something that you can have while you're doing all the Christmas spending. So that's it from me. I hope that gives you something to work with this Christmas. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, and I'm looking forward to catching up with you all in 2026. I can't believe we're even there already, but here we are. So have a great break. Thank you for joining us this year, and all the best. Thank you.
Thanks for watching another episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6-Star team here at positivementor.com.au.